Poštovani gledatelji, još jednom dobro nam došli, vrijeme je za otvoreni studio. A u okviru otvorenog studija često potenciramo one lijepe priče, sve one ljude, riječi i dijela koja zaista zavrijeđuju pažnju i koje pronalazimo u sehari intelektualnog bogatstva naše zemlje. Ali šta to kada to bogatstvo vide i žele da pokažu svi oni koji su eksterni? Kako na to gledaju oni ljudi koji ovdje dolaze iz svijeta? U skladu i sa ovom pričom koju je Elma tretirala u okviru Dobar dan Bosno i Hercegovino. Ne kažem iz svijeta onako tek tako bez razloga. Rođen je u Njemačkoj, studirao je u dalekoj Australiji, gdje je čak godinu dana svog života proveo živeći u plemenu među poglavicama i starosjediocima, da bi nakon što je proputovao čitav svijet, inspirisan znanjem i iskustvom, odlučio doći u neku daleku, malenu zemlju koja je prepuna potencijala i u njoj, a i o njoj sakupljati najljepše i najvrijednije priče mladih ljudi. I onda i sve skupiti i objaviti u magazinu koji je osnovao i o tom blagu pripovijedati na svakom narednom putovanju. Jednog takvog putnika, rasadnika lijepih priča u Bosni i Hercegovini, smo upoznali u Sarajevu, vrlo neobično, na jednoj od naših radnih kafa, odnosno kolegija. Prišao nam je upravo naš naredni gost, Schneider, koji će ispričati svoju priču i nama se zaista učinilo zanimljivo. Odlučili smo da dođemo do nekih detalja. Tu priču dijelimo sa vama u nastavku.
Kadrovi Baščaršije koje smo upravo vidjeli odišu vedrinom, radošću, šarenilom i neminovno me podsjećaju na onaj citat koji kaže da je Sarajevo razdragano kao dijete i da ono zbog toga uvijek prvo pruža ruke. O tome danas svjedoči i ovaj sunčan dan u Sarajevu gdje su ulice prepune ljudi, vrve ljudima. Na ovim ulicama danas ću ja sresti jednog zanimljivog sagovornika, čovjeka koji inicijalno nema mnogo veze sa našom zemljom, zapravo nema nikakve, porijeklom je iz Njemačke i nakon što je obišao čitav svijet, odlučio je doći u našu zemlju i uništiti sve one predrasude koje Evropa ima o nama, o ratu, o Srebrenici i pokazati da Bosna i Hercegovina ima još mnogo toga da ponudi kroz stotine priča mladih ljudi koje nastoji prenijeti u Evropu i dokazati da mnogo toga se još krije kod nas. Evo, upravo sam ga uočila. Moj današnji sagovornik je Schneider. Hello, Eric. It is so nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
And thank you for being today here with me, and I'm looking forward to our today's conversation.
My pleasure.
So when I talked to you yesterday, you told me that Baščaršija is a jewel, so I recommend that we take a walk through the streets of this jewel.
All right, well, thank you.
Let's go. There is a quote that says, my goal in life is not to be able to explain myself in one sentence. And I can already tell that you are that kind of a person. You are so full of experience, you are so full of knowledge, and you have a bigger idea, a bigger plan for your missions and your visions. But what would you say about yourself in one sentence? Even try, but I know it's hard.
In one sentence, well, the solutions for a world of awesome exist, and it's just that the people need to know, and especially the young generation has incredible superpowers to create a wonderful world for all of us, and I want today's Gandhis and Einsteins and the Gryffindors knowledge to get connected to a whole young generation at school.
That's great.
Is basically my life purpose and how I live all the time.
And what would you say is your mission here in Bosnia?
Well, first of all, I had an interest in reconnecting West and Eastern Europe, for school partnerships, to work together on projects. And then I was on a way to Portugal, and I had to change plans. I had very little budget, so it's also very practical when you're a social entrepreneur. And I thought, okay, where can I be for a while during the pandemic? To produce some books for low budget. So I remembered one friend in Sarajevo, and she said, yeah, you can come over. And then suddenly I discovered this amazing place, and that's how I got here. And then when I was talking about my work, people said, that is so beautiful, Positive News magazine, we need this in Bosnia. And I said, well, after 3 or 4 people said it, I mean, okay, we'll take this on. We're
It's
going
done,
to do one.
yeah. That's great. And I like the idea of connecting and making bridges between Bosnia and Europe and between young people. So I have a location I want to show you. So let's go.
Okay.
Okay, Eric, so we are here at the spot in the city center of Sarajevo near the city hall where we can see all of the bridges that are located here in the city center. And I think the metaphor of a bridge is very important to you and your work because you create connections between people, between cultures, between knowledge. And from this place, I would like you to invite our audience to submit their beautiful, inspiring stories of young people for your magazine and create a bridge between Bosnia and Europe.
So normally it's mostly about heroes, but I've learned that in Bosnia we also need to include dreamers, people that dare to follow their passion, you know, no matter what, and that like to take a playful or gameful approach to life. We also want adventurers and people who love animals and artists, you know, so whatever makes life more exciting and beautiful, you know?
Yeah, and what would you say was the most maybe interesting story that you heard in Bosnia so far?
Oh, well there I will definitely say it has to be Hadjira Selimovic, who started activism at age 12. Yes, and I recently had a huge, like 1.5 hour YouTube conversation, and she's basically the opener for the magazine, and she will also be a person in the end to look at the stories that come and to discuss them. And she is such a lovely person, so skillful, much more eloquent than me, and she, even though she wants to learn in different parts of the world, she says, I'm always going to keep that line to Bosnia, and Eric, whatever you're doing, no matter how busy I am, if there's young people that need mentoring, that have a question, I'll always be available. So, I mean, how much more beautiful can you be as a role model?
That is a nice message for our audience, for every young person. If they need help, if they need motivation and ambition, they can always contact her and, of course, read your magazine. And now I suggest we take a little walk through the Sarajevo again and enjoy this beautiful day. Okay, Eric, one question. Do you know what this is?
Well, explain it in your words to me.
This is something called hayat.ba in Bosnian, and that is a word that can pretty much can be translated in other languages, and I find that beautiful because we have something that is authentically ours, and it's like famous in Bosnia and maybe at not so many other places, and I think like that can be combined with all of the different stories that are like specifically connected to one particular place, and those are stories that should be shared globally, and that's something also that you do. Like you have all of these young leaders that are successful and that are sharing their stories. So I'm wondering, like, what exactly do they do and where do they come from?
Yeah, so first of all, I want to say it's impossible to avoid this in the magazine. Of course, it will be in there, you know, of course it will be in there. As well as that, you still have this tradition here, the metal makers, and Wimbašača, which used to be traditional for it. It's kind of dying out. We want to avoid that, you know, encourage young people to learn this trade. I already know also of a place not so far from Tito's bunker where there is traditional woodwork, you know, so, and it's very present and passed on in families, but also other people come. It has a UNICEF or UNESCO heritage status, you know, that goes in the magazine, you know. So But of course, my main expertise and the main topic is young heroes, okay? Because it's so spectacular. We may talk about adult heroes that change the world and do great projects, but if we just see 50 or 60-year-olds, you think, I cannot do it. I need 40 years of experience. So, but when you see a 9-year-old Babar in India who founds a school for his friends that could not afford to go to school, and then he continued and he taught them in the afternoon what he had learned in the morning, in the backyard of his poor farmer parents. And then it became 50 students and 100, and by the age of 16, by BBC called him the youngest headmaster in the world. So, and then people built him, because of course then people see it, we want to help. So they built him a real school, you know, so now he had 7,000 students. And he's one of my friends, because whenever I write about these people, I ask, how can people help? And most journalists do not ask that question. So I connected him with other heroes, and people visit as volunteers, people donate, and people say that is like the most beautiful thing. We read about him in our school book in America, and now we can meet this hero, you know, and they have video meetings with the school with him.
Sorry, Eric, I think I just saw one of my friends, and she happens to be this young, motivated girl, and just let me call her for a minute. I would like to meet you guys. Sorry, just a second.
Yeah, go ahead. That's live.
Yes. Čao, Hena, jesam li te upravo vidjela na čarši? Jeste, tu si negdje. Znaš šta, evo sjedim ovdje kod Sebilja sa jednim super momkom koji ima vrlo inspirativne priče, jedan stranac, i rado bih da vas upoznam, da i ti kažeš nešto o sebi. I evo, ako možeš da nam samo dođeš sekundu, evo ne znam gdje si, ne vidim te više, ali sad sam te vidjela prije minutu. Hajde, čekamo te, važi, vidimo se. Okay, so she will join us, yes.
Yeah, so Craig's story continued. So he went to India, and he liberated children by a campaign in America. And then, of course, he was in the media, and adults started donating $120,000 one evening. It doesn't happen when you're an adult, but when it's a 12-year-old, they see this passion and that he's true. And you know he needs no office where the money goes straight to the cause. And there was in the media, and then other students saw it. And then he had teams at 300 schools, and today he has teams at 16,000 schools.
Hey, Hena, baš mi je drago da te vidim. Izvoli.
Hi, my name is Hena.
Eric, nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
Sit down, Hena. Thank you. I'm so glad that you could join us and tell something about yourself, because that's a coincidence that you were walking through Basharsha and you are indeed an ambitious and inspiring girl.
So my name is Hena. I am currently second year at Medical Faculty University of Sarajevo. I work part-time at Homework Hub. Maybe you had a chance to hear something more about Homework Hub?
I heard like this little, but I was there, stumbled to the guys, I took a selfie with them, and I knew I want to follow up. But if you are there, I'd really like to hear more about what you do. All I know is there's students and also teenagers that go to do homework, but there's more. So
it is a co-working, co-studying space. It is a first library on Balkans that works 24/7. We also tend to create lectures, workshops that cover various topics, and we have recently launched something called Hub Mental Health Campaign. Since we've recognized that many students, we live like a very, very fast lifestyle, and it obviously affects our mental health, and we're under a lot of stress. Studying alone is a lot of stress, adding up social life, family, I don't know. So we have decided to launch that campaign, and we offer our members individual psychotherapies.
Hey, you just need to talk about it. Just talking about it does 50% of the job, you know? And in the US, there's a huge teenage led by like 13-year-olds, you know? So yeah, awesome that you're doing it, and other peers in the world are also doing it. And I would absolutely like to include it in the magazine because it's super important for young people to hear.
And I think, guys, we have a lot to talk about and to seek and to exchange ideas. And Eric, Hannah, thank you so much for being with me today. And it was my pleasure to hear all of your inspiring stories that I find truly amazing.
Yeah, thank you for connecting us.
Yes.
I mean, that's how it works, you know, and if you have more stories, because as a journalist, you get to know so many people, you know where we are. And when we have positive stories, I'll share them with you, and you decide if you want to tell them. I will be glad to help
and to spread those stories together with you. Thank you one more time. I evo, poštovani gledalci, nadam se da je današnji razgovor bio inspirirajući i da smo mogli nekako učiniti podstrek upućen mladim ljudima da se angažuju, da uče, da dijele lijepe ideje i sve ono da propagiraju što naša, evo, draga Bosna i Hercegovina može da porudi širem svijetu.